Windsor Plywood in French Creek specializes in hard-to-source interior and exterior home finishing products, including flooring, doors, and moldings. Windsor can help you bring your vision to life from start to finish. Let Windsor Plywood in French Creek help you with your renovation, new build, or building project. Call 752-3122.
You're listening to Non-Partisan Hacks, Pulse Edition, our locally focused series where we look at good government and local community issues right here in Parksville and Oceanside. I'm Joel Grenz, a member of council here in the city of Parksville.
And I'm Sean Wood, also a Parksville councillor and candidate for mayor. Today's episode is all about downtown, how it works, why it looks the way it does, and why it's not as simple as make it look like Qualicum Beach. We're joined by the person who lives and breathes downtown Parksville, Teresa Cooper, Executive Director of the Parksville Downtown Business Association.
Yeah, Sean, we hear a lot from residents questions like, why isn't Parksville's downtown as nice as Qualicum? Or why don't we have more cafes or restaurants? And what's actually going on with that downtown revitalization? Today is about facts, clarity, and giving people an inside look at how decisions about the downtown really work and what's coming next.
Quick reminder, the views, opinions, and dad jokes we share on this podcast are our own. They don't represent the official positions of the City of Parksville or any other organization.
Yeah, so I'm going to be expecting some dad jokes today, Sean. You ready?
I think you've got that market cornered there, Joel. Go ahead.
We are recording at the Parksville Downtown Business Association office today, right next to Memorial Plaza, where there was a Santa Claus sighting last night. Teresa Cooper, did you get to see Santa Claus?
I got to walk with Santa Claus.
Okay.
It was fabulous.
How's he doing on my toys?
Oh, you've got some work to do there, Joel. You've got some work to do.
Another year of coal? Oh.
Was it actually Santa Claus?
Yeah.
Was here?
Yeah.
You missed it, Sean.
I drove by because I was heading home, but
He even brought his wife. Mrs. Claus was here too.
she was here too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Amit has seen him lately.
Yes, Amit up in the North Pole. I think he picks up Santa's newspaper when he's in town, so that doesn't sit on the front porch.
Shout out to Amit serving our country up there. Even Santa has kind of headed to warmer climates, apparently.
There you go. Parksville, great place to be.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, Teresa Cooper, also here in Parksville, Executive Director of the Parksville Downtown Business Association, which is a BIA, which is responsible for the downtown business zone, events, beautification, and helping shape the future of the heart of our city. Teresa, did I cover that properly?
I don't know how I'm going to get that all on my business card, but yes.
So you've been in this role,
Just about 3 years, Joel.
About 3 years, okay. And you're a relative newcomer-ish to Parksville, I think. And I remember maybe speaking to you early on in your tenure as executive director of the PDBA, and you were mentioning the opportunity that we have here in Parksville. What were your initial impressions when you first arrived in Parksville?
I came here for several years with my kids when they were young, so I'm going to guess it was 30 years ago. And when I was offered the position, my first phone call was to my daughter, and I said, "Where's the downtown?" I had no idea. I had no idea where the downtown was. Mm-hmm. That was my first impression, that there wasn't a significant area where you would say, "Oh, I've arrived in downtown." Mm-hmm. The other impression I had that really drove me to the conversation couple of years ago that we had, Joel, was there wasn't anything sort of standing out in my mind that I could say, wow, this is Parksville. Mm-hmm. It just looked like so many other small towns I had seen in my travels around British Columbia, where it used to be something great and it's just a little bit tarnished now and a little bit looking for some new life. And that was my first impression.
Yeah, and it speaks a little bit to the history of Parksville and how it kind of came about, building out along the highway. And so stores kind of naturally gravitate towards where the cars are going by because that's the best place to get customers. So there's not really that kind of plaza or that landing spot in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of downtown like you may see in some other communities, especially, I guess, maybe sort of your traditional historic downtown that predates the automobile, which Parksville doesn't so much.
Yeah, I think if you look at a lot of small towns, whether it's northern BC, Okanagan, the downtown grew up alongside the water, which we do, but our water is much different and not as in Prince George, where I grew up, where the rivers connected. That's where the downtown started. So you've got that place. And ours has just sort of been the same along the water, but stretched out all along the water.
Right. And actually Nanaimo is kind of like that too, because it's this big, long, stretched out city. And there are also, I guess, some of the same challenges they're trying to tackle there too with their downtown to try to enhance it and make it more of a place that you actually want to hang out and live and go to the coffee shop and I don't know what other things you might do down there.
Yeah, when they built the new highway, obviously that really changed how people can move around on the highway. In the old days, if you want to go north on Vancouver Island, you're coming straight through Parksville, and if you want to go out to Port Alberni, you're going to hang a left, or Tofino or Ukulele, hang a left in Parksville. Now we have a brand new highway that's I don't know, a couple of decades old now, and so now we, in our transportation plan, we're kind of actually looking at, hey, can we slow the traffic down? Can we kind of get people to slow down and not use the old highway as the main highway? So that's a lot different than how Qualicum Beach started, where the highway goes along their beach, and then they got to plan kind of their downtown to be very walkable, and all the stores with a little bit of residential above it. So, you kind of work with the origins of the city that you have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for listeners maybe who don't know, because a lot of this conversation is going to speak about downtown Parksville, but there's actually kind of like a formal aspect to what downtown Parksville is. People may see when they drive into the official formal downtown Parksville, there's a sign that says Parksville Downtown. Why is that? Why is there a sign that says Parksville Downtown when I thought I was in Parksville the whole time, Teresa?
Good question. We are, Parksville Downtown Business Association is a BIA, which stands for Business Improvement Area. It's legislated by the provincial government and facilitated by the municipal government. A downtown can look at a map and draw a line and say, okay, this is the area we want to be our BIA. So in 2007, the group of merchants got together and created a BIA for Parksville, and it is to the east. I've not lived here long enough.
It's tough. Like which direction's north? It's the
yes.
water. Yeah.
To the east is McVickers, and then to the west is McMillan. To the south is Jensen Avenue, but only on the water side of Jensen Avenue, not City Hall side. And then all the way down to the water. So that would include Beach Club and the RV organizations, as well as the community park. That's the part of Parksville that is designated as the official downtown.
And what is the being official downtown? It does actually mean some things. It means it has an effect on your property taxes as a business owner that has your business in that area, and also the kinds of things that you have the opportunity to engage in, participate in as a business owner. Do you want to get into that a little bit, just sort of the high level?
Sure. Yeah. Yes, you're right. Property owners pay we try to keep it at 1% or slightly lower. And that is something that we work with the city on that each 5 years. So the property owners pay this 1% tax, and that goes into a pool, which then the city invites us to present our budget and make sure that everything is running well, and then allots us that funding for the year. That allows us to do marketing and beautification and improvements, and really just anything we can to support the small businesses in the downtown.
That's great.
There's a cost to being a business that is in the downtown, but then there are all these benefits that you get as a business owner, that money gets pooled and gets used to promote the downtown, bring events to downtown that brings folks into downtown, so they spend their money in the businesses. So
yes, that's how it's supposed to work.
That's how it's supposed to work. And that's how it does work. It works pretty well. Does it work pretty well?
It
Okay,
does.
great. As part of this whole BIA organization is this Imagine Parksville Downtown thing.
Thing.
What is that thing?
What is that thing? Well, Joel, remember when you and I were invited to a meeting at MLA Walker's office and the the Minister for Jedi
Yeah.
gave this presentation of funding that was available for rural downtowns. And as I'm listening, I'm going, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
And so we applied for that. We received money to do a study to ask our community, what do you want to see in Parksville over the next 10 years? Mm-hmm. And a lot of it that came back to us was great because it confirmed what we were already thinking. But then we saw a lot of different perspectives. We tried to reach out to as many different people we could find to talk to us about it. And we got some really good feedback about what the residents and what the other community groups feel about downtown.
My son wants a water slide.
That's interesting.
That's just one opinion. And we represent a lot of different opinions. That's the juggle.
I wouldn't have gotten away with doing this episode without him, getting his request.
Getting the water slide.
Exactly.
Well, I will make a note of that.
My kids would be on board with the same thing.
Okay, that's two more.
Well, you know what? That's interesting because one of the things we consistently heard was there's not enough for kids to do in Parksville. Mm-hmm. I think people in towns have been saying that forever, that, we got to find something to keep these kids busy, right? Mm-hmm. However, it was quite prevalent in our conversation. The other thing we heard a lot about was we want the downtown to come back to life. We want it to look good and feel good, and we want to have some vibrancy and again, some things to do. One of the things to do is, can we not go for dinner after 7:00 at night? Can we not just go for a glass of wine at 9:00 at night? COVID was still in our rearview mirror when we came up with this concept. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to blame everything on COVID, but I think there is still a bit of a hangover there. And, businesses are still struggling, not only for COVID, but everything else that has happened in the last 2 years. And, they're eking out their living the best they can. If we had so much more foot traffic in downtown, if people were shopping local as a priority instead of I should do that, and filled up all the businesses and filled up all the restaurants, I think that you would see those hours extending. It's a chicken and egg thing. The restaurants won't stay open because nobody comes. Nobody goes because they think they're all closed. So we've got to start taking some steps around that. And one of them is to have events and have experiences in the downtown where people who may not have come to downtown in years, we talk to a lot of people, I never go downtown, right? So give them a reason to come down here and see what's happening and visit our merchants and support our merchants so that we can do more.
Well, and one of the tricks is, and this is something I try to explain to my son, that I think a lot of thoughts out there relate to this, is the Downtown Business Association isn't opening businesses, and the city of Parksville also isn't opening businesses. My son's also requested a movie theater, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, why don't you get a movie theater? You're on council. You should get a movie theater."
Yeah, Dad.
Yeah. I in theory, I guess we could maybe do that as a city council, but that's not really what we do. We don't open businesses. And what we do need to do is create the environment or the climate or the conditions that would support businesses to succeed here. And that's a little bit of a little less straightforward. How do you do that? Yeah,
you're right. It is complicated. When we finished our study and got the final report, we poured through I'm going to say it was 40 to 50, not recommendations, but you could do this, you could do this, you could do tactics that we could take, but no real laying it all out. That was up to us to look at the evidence that the report provided and say, okay, all of this is not going to happen next year. Obviously, this is a long-term project, and so now we've set it at, we've really high level said 6 years. I think it's probably going to be closer to 10. Things just happen, and in 4 phases. And the first phase is to make the downtown look more welcoming. And by doing that, we're putting together a plan for business facade rejuvenation, which means the front of the businesses are going to look a little brighter and a little more welcoming and more interesting, capture your attention. Hey, I want to go see who would paint their building pink. That's interesting. No, I'm not recommending that pink is the color of Parksville now, but when you see something new and fresh, you're more likely to go see, well, what does the inside look like?
Sure, yeah, it's kept up.
Yeah. While we're doing that, we're also going to give our merchants the opportunity to bring their accessibility up to a little higher level.
Yep, that's great.
Access Oceanside and our organization have worked together a lot to say, what can we do? What's the quickest fix? So I think that is an important part of the facade rejuvenation, is to add that accessibility piece. As well, there's one final piece where we're going to do some placemaking. And for people who might not know exactly what that is, it's just taking public spaces and making them lively and interesting and creating experiences in our downtown. And we're working really closely with the CAO and the Director of Planning on that, because it takes place mostly on city-owned sidewalks or roads or plazas. And we're really becoming aligned with the goals of the city around placemaking, while sort of introducing some other ideas. Well, did we think about this? So it's working really well. And I think people will visibly see some changes over the next 2 years that will come directly from this report.
Very cool. Love to hear the teamwork.
So the report does recommend that we have the world's biggest something.
You know, that's funny you asked that, because at the end of it, our consultant said, I put that in just as a get people thinking. And his plan was to create, I'm going to say, a 60, 70 foot viewing tower in downtown Parksville. So people could climb all the stairs, get their exercise. But once they're up there, they've got a 360 view of the Mount Arrowsmith Biosphere. And as corny as that sounds, there's something to that, right? To have that experience, to get that high in elevation that you can actually see the whole picture all at once.
And zip line down to the beach.
And zip line to the beach, yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't hear that. Didn't hear that one.
We're just workshopping some ideas right now.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what it is, Joel, right now. So we've got the facade piece nailed down, but there's 3 other phases to this, and those 3 phases we're brainstorming, we're collecting ideas. As you may have noticed, I'm out talking to anybody that will talk to me. I shouldn't say talking. I'm listening to anybody that will talk to me, because we don't have all the answers, and the answers are going to come from those conversations. And you'll pick a piece of this, a piece of that, and put it all together. And all of a sudden, you've got this wonderful idea.
Well, and the trick, too, is that ideas are cheap. It's the implementation that's expensive. And so you have to try to figure out how to implement these ideas, of which there are quite a few good ones now coming out of this report and everything. But to the point that you made around, there are a bunch of ideas that aren't in any way kind of interrelated or interconnected. We do have to figure out what is the next move that will create a cascade effect around. So whether it's having some kind of tower, which would be kind of an anchor
experience,
attraction, anchor experience, and if it attracts people to come to that, then there will be other businesses or experiences that will have opportunities around where that's located because of the people that are attracted to come to that one. So have to kind of think through that. When it comes to the headwinds that we run into all the time, it's not the Downtown Business Association doing that. It's not the city of Parksville doing that. Ultimately, it falls on willing and able property owners to do that, because these buildings are owned by all different folks, and whether they want to do or can do or are financially in the position to do these things is another story.
Well, the great part about this first step of facade rejuvenation, we have submitted a grant again to REDIP and outlining a case for helping the property owners fund these rejuvenated facades at a much greater level than we could do annually from our own budget.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at, if it all goes through, is a $10,000 grant to the property owner, and they have to put in $2,500. That's the maximum, $10,000 and $2,500.
Sure.
So for $12,500, you would get a lot of quality work done on the front of your building.
Sure.
And so that's what we're hoping for. If for some reason we don't get this grant, then, we've got other steps that'll take us a little longer to get there. But we've had really good feedback already from several property owners. Put me on the list. Let me know when you know. And so I'm feeling quite encouraged about that.
I think people are also feeling encouraged just generally. We're seeing some pickup from local businesses to take the initiative on some, so like maybe speak a bit to that. There's been murals. What are the ways that businesses are saying, hey, we want to participate in this, this whole improving the beautification of downtown?
Well, I thank Kevin from Parks West for initiating the mural that he put on the side of his building, because I think it made everybody go, wow, what can we do? And then Stedman's followed, and the foot of Craig Street. So, and there's several others throughout.
The full St. Luke one there.
Yes. Yeah. There's several others throughout the town and lots of spots for it. And I, to be honest, I've kind of encouraged everybody, just hold off because I might be able to help you. Right.
Right.
So and it's got people thinking.
Yeah.
So if we don't have the funding, what can we do? There's a underground current about, let's do something. So
yeah, I think it just kind of gets everyone thinking that, I mean, you walk past the same thing every day and you just kind of, that's a brick wall. But now it's like, it could be so much more.
It's a piece of art.
Never thought of it. It could be art. And it's been cool to see. There's also, it's on the backside of maybe Fireside Books also that they've done a mural there. So we're definitely seeing the murals pop up, which is fun and brings some local visual things to the community, which has been great to see.
Big shout out to Danopoulos while we're here.
Yeah.
Yes, he's been fabulous for our brightening up our downtown.
Yeah. So looking at this list then, and we've touched on maybe a couple of them, what other ideas are on the list that we might be able to get people thinking about?
So second phase tentatively is to really focus on young entrepreneurs, the local people who we don't want to see them leave town because they can't do what they want to do or do what they learned to do in school. And so through conversations with business owners and VIU and Parksville, Qualicum Beach Tourism, we're talking about creating some sort of tourism development program where somebody who is keen to start mountain biking tours or something like that and has got a great operational plan, doesn't know anything about writing a budget or marketing or any of the multiple things that small businesses need. So supporting them while they're building this small business. And so there's the learning piece, but there's also a piece where we're going to try to create what we call an innovation hub or an incubation hub, depending on what it turns out to be. But that's just a place where they can come in for very low rent. So that brings down that barrier. And for 2 years, 3 years, they can run their business from this really small place, but testing it, bringing people in, saying, what do you think of this? What is selling? What services am I offering that people are seem to be really keen about? And so helping them, and as they're learning and as they're testing and as they're actually in business, getting them through those really difficult 3 to 5 years of starting a new business.
Incubator.
An incubator. Yeah. So that's phase 2, focusing on entrepreneurship and building our own new businesses from within the downtown. And then the third one is a focus on our arts, culture, heritage. We've got so much arts and lots of culture and heritage. So in the original conversations that I mentioned, we had such a large group of the arts come together. It was our biggest focus group. We just, they were at the door. Can we come in? Can we come in? And so that showed all of us there is some passion to drive this. So we're starting to do small things with the MAC and OCAC to, feel each other out. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a really great thing. And you may see some of that arts and culture work. I don't see this project being, okay, 2 years, that one's done. Let's start the next one. I think it's just 4 different areas of focus. And when the time is right, each one, and some might happen together. And then the last one is what you were speaking about, Joel, finding that downtown experience that will pull people in. Again, this isn't waiting, 7 or 8 years to do that, but looking for the opportunities and making sure that we act on them when they come up.
And I wanted to go back to the foot traffic, which you mentioned earlier, mm-hmm. Teresa, is that, we get emails that maybe there's too much development or too much density. But one of the answers I give people when they're like, why don't we have a cactus club or why don't we have a brown social house downtown? Well, when you have that housing density downtown, which we see going up, that increases the foot traffic. Mm-hmm. And then you have companies that always have people scouting out because companies are trying to build their business and grow their business. That's what they do. And they're like, how's Parksville doing? Well, if this location were to open up, or if we bought this building, this would be a great location for X business. And that's how it works. And when they don't see that population growing and that foot traffic and that opportunity for business growing, then the scouts won't be looking at a certain spot to open a new business because they just don't see it being viable. And so although we get some pushback on building housing density, which is efficient land use, especially compared to single family detached housing, it's not really the most efficient land use. But when you get that foot traffic downtown, you will see the business that follows the foot traffic, especially if those people want to go out for a glass of wine and it's a little bit later than 8 o'clock or 9 mm-hmm. o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. And without that foot traffic, you won't see that. And so hopefully that's one of the things that, council has been doing to, grow that housing density, and not just our council, prior to as well. And I think that's one of the biggest things that Parksville Council can do to help kind of grow that downtown business. Exactly.
And it helps if when the people come into the downtown, it looks like somewhere they want to be, mm-hmm. not somewhere that they just want to go home. Right. So that's why the facade rejuvenation was our first step, because we thought we have to get it looking better so that we can attract more businesses that will bring more people.
And I compare, like, I've lived in Whistler before,
mm-hmm.
Probably for 8 years. I've lived in Calgary for a couple of years. I've lived downtown Vancouver for a couple of years, and they're all very different. Whistler is built for pedestrian stuff. It's hard to park, and everything else is walkable. Lots of business, lots of places to have a glass of wine or a mm-hmm. glass of beer or food. Downtown Calgary clears out on the weekends and after business hours. There's a few places you can go, but really everyone drives back out to the suburbs. And then downtown Vancouver, or say downtown Toronto, there are parts of it where it's very social and there's a lot of options for eating on a patio or whatever after hours. And so there's a lot of different things that can happen with a downtown. And obviously we would love to support Downtown Business Association and get that kind of walkability and those patios and the very social atmosphere that I think the Downtown Business Association also has in mind.
Well, that's a really good lead into what I wanted to say to the both of you is thank you very much for making the patio process so much easier and affordable to our local restaurants. I think that in the spring you will see some of these restaurants with their patios, and that makes it so much more welcoming.
And I think that's a good thing to mention too, is the patio program and allowing restaurants to have an outdoor patio on the sidewalk, which is going to be fun to see businesses take advantage of. Because one of the goals that we have is we have this amazing community park that people from far and wide come to. I enjoy it living here. It's one of the things my kids grew up going there and playing on the playground there, which is one of the most amazing playgrounds around. And but there's something for everybody in the community park. But we want to see people come through the community park and then come into downtown, support the local businesses, and have the experience downtown be an extension of the awesome experience they have in the community park. And so this is what we're trying to do. This is what the Downtown Business Association is trying to do. This is what the Parksville Council's strategic plan includes as part of it. But it does take time, and it does take having the right mix of businesses coming along and investing in Parksville. And to Sean's point, it does require a kind of balance of community folks living here, everything from folks who can work in these businesses to the entrepreneurs that would start and run the businesses to the patrons of all ages that would and needs that would patronize these businesses. It all has to kind of work together to happen. So yeah, I guess love to thank you for your work doing this for the city of Parksville's downtown. I've seen a lot of progress in the 3 years that you've been here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's been great to see all the work you've done to do that placemaking thing. And make sure we've got lots of great events. And maybe that's kind of a good place to wrap it up is what are some of the events that are going on that we can expect to see coming up, but also that are part of the regular cadence of downtown Parksville now?
Well, our next event is Happy Noon Year, which is a kids' New Year's event from 10:30 till 12:30 in Memorial Plaza. At noon, we drop the balloons and we all yell Happy Noon Year.
All right.
And we have DJ Connor coming to turn it into a dance party. So it's our most well-attended event. And then we kind of take a break for planning and rejuvenation ourselves. And our first event in the summer is our second annual Food Truck Festival, which was really successful.
First year was a huge success.
It was. So we're going to build on that. And then throughout the summer, our goal really is to activate Memorial Plaza, keep it busy, keep things happening in there. And the two that have really grown over the last 3 years is our Picnic in the Plaza, which we do on Tuesday evenings in conjunction with the Craig Street Market or Summer by the Sea Market. And then the second one is called Dance With Me, which we're now going to do every week instead of just 4 weeks because we couldn't build the consistency. People couldn't remember which Thursday is it, right?
Is this the off week or the on week?
Yeah. So we're going to do it every week and see if we can build the attendance on that. And then for the rest of it, there's sort of one-off things that come up and that we undertake. But for the most part, in the summer, there is always something in Memorial Plaza.
Yeah, there's always something going on, a reason to come downtown.
Yes.
Teresa, thanks so much for being an advocate for downtown businesses here in Parksville, and thanks for working closely with our city staff and for council. I think the better we can keep growing that relationship, it's only going to improve for everybody here in the city of Parksville. If you haven't already, check out our main Non-Partisan Hacks feed for more episodes on local government, policy, and good governance, including our recent conversations that generated a lot of community feedback.
And don't forget to subscribe to both the feeds. You've got the pulsecommunity.ca, where you can find all the ways to subscribe to the Pulse edition of our podcast, as well as the other Pulse Community podcasts. And then go to nonpartisanhacks.com to find all the ways you can subscribe to this podcast.
Teresa, thanks so much for being on the show.
It was my pleasure, and I just want to thank both of you for all the work that you do for the city.
Sure, team effort. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork.
Thank you. Until next time, take care of yourself and your community.
Windsor Plywood in French Creek specializes in hard-to-source interior and exterior home finishing products, including flooring, doors, and moldings. Windsor can help you bring your vision to life from start to finish. Let Windsor Plywood in French Creek help you with your renovation, new build, or building project. Call 752-3122.